All right, everybody. Thank you guys for showing up again. I'm sure everybody else will be tagging in and out as always. Let me jump to uh, topic suggestion. I think I already had things written down already for what I wanted to discuss. Corey, you can add me in the chat as needed. Um, First topic here. Um, we'll get to the whole. Uh,
Hello?
you're real funny, Corey. Um, get to the first topic here. What should be the primary concern of a clan leader, right? This is pretty broad. So I think when it comes to the concerns of clan leaders, right, there's a variety of things we're looking at here, right? I think you could break it down to two general concepts here. So that's well three. Like you can say recruitment, internal stability, and foreign reputation, right? And I think the question is how do clan leaders balance that? From my personal perspective, I've always viewed a clan leader's job as first and foremost maintain the internal stability and activity of their clan. Um, I view the clan leader's job as their primary role is to facilitate an entertaining clan experience for their members, and then everything else follows that. I think a lot of clan leaders get really focused on external things, doing foreign affairs or whatever. Um, that was something that I so once again to my personal experience here. When I was at Exodus, Shaky Divine had an issue with how much time foreign affairs was taking up, so they decided to just create a position exclusively to deal with foreign affairs, effectively offload the majority of the day-to-day work, contacting clan leaders, trying to schedule raids or basic meetings, right? Just to get the day-to-day stuff off his shoulders, so he could focus more on internal things. So I guess still, I know a lot of clan leaders here, people who have served in leadership positions. What do you guys think the primary objective or the priority should be for a clan leader or somebody in senior clan leadership positions? That's a
I think
cue for other people. Yeah. Okay, go ahead, Craven.
yeah, I agree with what you said previously about a leader should, in my eyes, should be someone who's keeping the clan internally stable, keeping the command doing what they're supposed to be doing, checking up on the command and the officers all the way.
Are you cutting out or?
Foreign affairs
This is
thing.
like the perfect storm of things going wrong. You cut out a little bit, Craven.
Oh my fucking god, bro! Damn your U.S. servers, I hate you. Yeah, I basically was pretty much agreeing with what you said. Clan leader should be basically making sure that his internal command structure is just ran and not falling apart or breaking up and stuff like that. You shouldn't be specifically like trying to schedule all the battles like officers can do that, you know.
Yeah, it's actually kind of like one of my. I think it's a good point here, right? To more elaborate on what he said, that like a clan leader should never be focused on the day-to-day activities of a clan. Like in my personal opinion, if you are a reasonably large clan, or like I'm not going to give an exact member count, but I'm going to say if you're a clan of 30 plus members and your clan leader is regularly running trainings, you're doing something wrong. Like there are other things he could be doing that are better for. I think there are things he could be doing that are better for his time and for the clan's time than have him sitting there and engage with new recruits on a regular basis, right? Like it's a matter of like I want to say like a life balance issue, right? But it's like you don't want everybody sinking 40 million hours a week into clans. That's not good for anybody. So clan leaders should be prioritizing like the return I get. Like there's no immediate need why the clan leader with that level of authority should be doing trainings. Like a person who's been in the clan for a month can run trainings, right? But like I think there's more. It's more productive for clan leader to be talking with some other clan or trying to make some sort of alliance or something along those lines. Like those are more worthwhile. Um, those are more worthwhile uses of his time than simply basic low level stuff. So as I said, as Craven said, like, I don't think it's useful for him to be doing day to day things.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. My perspective is a little different because I'm obviously a naval command, but you could kind of like reduce it down to the size of the branch that I'm in. I work with the staff in the Marine branch and to run all the activities and stuff like that, and we do a very similar thing where um, we will step out of positions at certain ranks. For instance, like MOSs, so like jobs you do within a branch. You can really only be a maximum of a sergeant and leading those because we want new people to get involved and want new people to be able to have that line of progression through the clan and through the ranks. So in the main, like what I do is as the XO, the Marines is basically coordinate with the other branches, coordinate with external, and then also kind of be like a data center for all like the HDI to report to, for the OPSO to report to the multiple DIs to report to the recruiting officers. So in my mind, if like you had a GCO or if you had like a president, or in my mind, that position would be like the central hub, the data center. They're collecting all the information, the data, and then making decisions or telling people to do certain things like that. So that's how I view it.
Actually, real quick, what does HDI actually stand for?
Yeah, so HDI is a head drill instructor. So the head drill instructor manages all the lower drill instructors who are the full drill instructors, so the drill instructor trainees. And then he also, make sure that the cadets or the trainees are going through the trainings appropriately and that they're on time and stuff like that. So I know it's a little different. I know it's a little different with NavCom because it's like, there's multiple branches. It's a democracy, but you can, to your question, I think that the leader should be kind of like a data center. They collect all the data and then they interpret it because that's their job. They're a leader. They should have the most experience. They should understand how to interpret that stuff and then, properly go to the proper people and make sure things are happening. So
To take out two points that you mentioned, right, and I think that deserve a little more discussion here, right, is first off, let me make sure I'm writing down so I'm losing my train of thought here. But I think the first one you mentioned was actually pretty interesting, where it's like you don't want people in super senior ranks to be running jobs that could be run by other people because you don't want them clogging the line promotion per se. Where if you have a clan leader who's always running, who's always leading his raid teams, right? Then he's preventing other people in his clan from getting that experience for them to be able to run raids, right? And then the other point, which I think you've mentioned some other ways, you view them as like some sort of data center. And I think this is one of the things where this is one of the things where I realize that this is something that's difficult to do because a lot of people don't really perceive clans this way. But I've always viewed senior level clan positions when I was CFAO, for example, right? I mainly viewed my job as something I facilitate things, right? Like I never viewed it as my duty or responsibility to be in game or anything along those lines. That's partly a function because it's difficult for me to do that because of other situational things, right? But I think that a clan leader, especially for a clan 50, 60 plus members, right? I think the majority of their job is really personnel management and has almost nothing to do with things happening in game. Like outside of maybe going to a couple of in game meetings or whatever, I don't think there's a lot a clan leader. This is a bold statement. I think that a solid 85% of what a clan leader does can be done without an Xbox. It could just be done talking to people over Discord or talking to people on Xbox Live party chats or anything along those lines. I think it's something that it's difficult because people who do run clans still like doing raids, so they will do them.
Yeah.
I don't think that's wrong. I think that it might not be the most effective, or I think a lot of times that leads to confusion as what their priorities really should be. All right, I know somebody has opinions on that, so I'll open it up again.
Yeah, I'd agree. In the past, that's certainly not the way I like doing things, but I would say that you could definitely do it successfully. In the past, NAVCOM has had GCOs, which are general commanding officers, which are basically presidents. And in the past, they have been able to do their duties completely exclusively on Discord or the website. So as long as the way I look at it is as long as you have people below you, whether it be the commanding officers, the executive officers, the staff, as long as you have confidence and you can entrust the duties of like going into games and making sure the members are okay and making sure activity is okay and recruitment is okay, standards are up. As long as you have people in those lower positions as the president or as the leader of the whole entire organization, you can probably get away with it. You know what I'm saying? As long as you have a strong, feedback within the staff members that are actually in the games or actually getting, uh, direct feedback from the enlisted or from the actual clan.
Next the question is, how does that scale down to smaller clans? I think that a lot of times clans like Navcon or like Axis aren't necessarily the typical clan in terms of structure or in terms of size, right? So I think the question is for clans that are smaller than 30 or have less than like 15 members that are on a daily basis, right? Perhaps that style isn't effective, right? And perhaps the clan leader does need to be hands on a daily basis and engage people in game on a daily basis, right? So I think this is a matter of like understanding what type of clan you have and what type of demands your members place upon the clan leadership. But I think it's also understanding like, okay, well, as this clan grows, how do those needs change? Um, other inputs on that topic, or if not, we can switch here.
Shoot.
I think you should definitely change your capability. Like for instance,
Well,
I think you should adapt to like the size of your clan and stuff like that. Like right now, Navcom is in a huge huge clan, and stuff like that. But we have dialed back operations in terms of like scale. I would say it's something that we're actively working towards. That's definitely our main operations that we do, expand the people that are involved and stuff like that. So we're doing that right now. I mean, we're scaling and scaling up and down and stuff like that depending on the member trends and stuff like that. So ranks, positions, activities, training maps, the amount of training that we do is all determined based upon the amount of member flow we get. Like we look at charts, we look at how many people are signing up for the website, we look at how many people are passing training. We get feedback. We make sure that everything has a scale and everything is kind of appropriated and it works well. But if that's what you're kind of saying about like, oh, do smaller clans, how would it work for smaller clans? It's kind of what we're doing. So
yeah, I think it all depends on the scale of the clan. If it's a larger clan and there's a lot more people, then you can have like all those different management positions like drill instructors, NCOs, whatnot. But the smaller the clan, the more involved in day-to-day operations does the leader of the clan have to be. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really important to understand that like this is something that really matters. I think it's something that can be discussed like in detail quite a bit depending on the size of your clan and what the best practices are. Because I don't think that a super hands-off style works for a clan of 15 people. Like there's no way it's going to work. But I think that a super hands-off style could work for a clan you're sitting 8. Like I think Clone Federation could have done a hands-off style because they were pretty large, they
Uh,
have a pretty robust command structure, right? They probably could have done it pretty easily. Um, so it's really about understanding how you're structured and what type of personnel you have below you and how capable they are.
Looking at well, I guess if you're gonna like change the subject, are you going to go to the Trident Empire one, or are you gonna go to something else?
I was going to go to let me pull up the exact summary I had. Like the general decrease in activity and what that means and how clans are dealing with that as Halo 5 trends. Trident topic might be discussed. I'm hesitant to set a precedent where we discuss clans in particular like that. At least I'd like to have somebody from that clan who is here. Also, because Trident hasn't actually launched, to my knowledge, that becomes a really
Yeah,
tricky
I
topic.
know.
But I
Yeah.
think that if Corey's here, if Corey's willing to discuss it, or if Corey's okay with it, that's something we could entertain. So, um, but we'll come back to that at some later point. So let's go ahead with
Yeah.
the entire yeah. So this is something that a couple people discuss in some shade or form, right? Uh, as everybody knows, games get less popular over time. Halo 5's been out for a couple years at this point, so populations are pretty steadily decreasing. The question is, generally speaking, how is the community dealing with that? What best practices might clans adopt to get new members or to retain current members, and where does that leave the community long term, 2018 per se, or something along those lines? In a year from now, where might we be?
I think that the only thing that's going to save this community is if we get information about Halo 6 soon enough, because I think right now the only thing that's going to like keep us going is the next game. So the sooner that comes out, I think the better chance that this community has of still being around by that time.
I don't necessarily agree. Um, I don't have the exact dates in front of me, so I'm not sure how accurate this argument is. But just as like a factual basis, when Halo Reach came out, we knew as a fact that was the last Halo game Bungie was making. I don't think that Halo 4 was confirmed until like 2 or 3 years out of Halo Reach. So I don't necessarily think that the next game over the horizon really matters because, like, for example, suppose the community wanted to stay on Halo 5 for the next 4 years. We could do that, right? Like, people still played Halo Reach when Halo 5 was out. I'm sure we all remember those stupid discussions back in like back in December 2015 when Halo 5 came out about what is better, Halo 5 or Halo Reach. It was a stupid discussion, but it occurred because
Yeah.
people still played Halo Reach, right? I don't think that the the community needs a new game to continue.
Mainly the
I
reason,
like the premise of that argument.
the main reason, well, it's not really a premise, it's just something that I was thinking of, but um, the main reason why I bring up Halo 6 is because so often lately have I heard people talk about, oh, I'm just going to leave the community and wait for Halo 6 to come out.
Yeah, I've certainly seen those discussions. That's true. I think I don't. I'm hesitant to confuse anecdotal evidence for like understanding actual trends. This is just something where we simply don't have pollsters running like polls about what people think or how many people are currently in the community. Like we have no idea how many people are in the community to any particularly accurate number, right? So it's difficult to say exactly how quickly the community is decreasing in size or if it's gaining new members, how many new members is it gaining, right? These are things that we really can't understand accurately. So it's difficult to really understand even where we're at and how severe some sort of trend like this might be. So there will be people that are saying, we are coming back to a Halo 6, and that's true, right? I think that we know Halo 6 is a definitive thing, so that's helpful. Um, the question is, like, when's Halo 6 come out? I would have to assume that, like, generally speaking, they don't announce games at E3 and launch it the same year for Halo. So
Yeah.
somebody could check years on that, but I don't recall anything off the top of my head. So assume they confirm Halo 6 or give us some teaser trailer E3 June 2018, right? That means we probably won't see Halo 6 until June or December, November, winter, fall 2019. I think that if we're sitting here saying we need to wait, like I'm just going to come back in 2 years, right? It's safe to assume that those people might not come back just by default, just because like people have significant life events in 2 years'
Yeah.
time. I don't think it's helpful to even entertain the discussion that like we should encourage the idea of waiting until Halo 6, right? We need to try and maintain what we have and develop
Yeah.
a more rich community on Halo 5 in and of itself.
Yeah, I hear that argument a lot, like, oh, I'm just going to wait, but like you said, I think that'll only kill the community for now. So, yeah.
Other inputs on this?
I think in terms of I think the mentality that Navcom has. Again, I'm just going to talk for Navcom because
Oh no, yeah, that's true. Go ahead.
that's all I can really do. But the mentality that we have that is we can sustain ourselves on Halo 5 quite easily, and by that we can we can pull ups and downs in terms of recruitment, which is exactly what it does. It's on a weekly basis. Like some weeks we'll get a shit ton of people, and some weeks we won't. Um, but we really look at Halo 6 as kind of a fresh start in a sense, and a great opportunity for us to really expand. And so a lot of the stuff that we're doing right now is all in preparation for Halo 6, if I can even say it that early, because simple stuff like getting staff, getting field manuals written, getting training organized, getting people to the ranks, figuring out who even wants to be here for a very long time or who wants to do stuff. It's all just about building a foundation so that when Halo 6 comes out or when whatever next game comes out, we will launch onto it with a very strong a very strong foundation to work off of. So again, the mentality that we have is Halo 5 is great, but it's only great for sustainment. I don't think it's very great for rapid growth. So I would say Halo 6 is the best thing that we can probably hope for in terms of rapid growth. So that's what we're looking for.
Yeah, I don't think you'll ever see like generally speaking, the peak recruitment's always the first year. Like generally speaking, clans are always most active the first year of any given game. Like when people talk about
Yeah.
the golden age of Halo Reach, that was the first year of Halo Reach. When people talk about what was the best time of Halo 5, that was the first week of the first year of Halo 5, right? Generally speaking, you
Well,
understand that.
whenever they first added in
Yeah,
custom games and whatnot.
so that's
Yeah.
the first, but that's still generally speaking the first year. I think it came out like 3 months after launch, and then you get the idea.
Yeah.
The
Forge
general
came out
premise holds up.
1 month after.
Yeah, I think the general premise holds. I don't think you ever see the influx of people you see with a new game, right? But I don't necessarily think it's impossible to, grow the community. Like Halo 5 is a super cheap game. That's right there's that lowers the barrier to entry. If there's people that are on the wall about potentially getting Halo, they might get Halo and then join clans like that, right? Um, Generally speaking, people who are still playing Halo 5 2 years down the line, as they are right now, are people who are really dedicated and enjoy Halo 5 as a game, and it's not just a hype train anymore, right?
Yeah.
So the people who are still on matchmaking are pretty big Halo fans who might be more interested in pursuing a clan on Halo 5. So this is the issue of like, well, you might not get the bulk of members, but you might get the quality members that you wouldn't find back in November 2015 or whatnot. Um, in regards to prepping for Halo 6, I'm hesitant to do that simply because
Yeah.
if we
We
take a
don't even know
look,
what it's gonna look like.
yeah, like if we take a look at like this is a discussion. I personally was part of like the preparation thing for V100. We were transitioning from Reach to 4, right? And I think that until we have some idea of what Halo 6 is, it's difficult to do it. Because, like, for example, we know that, like, what is something that's not impossible that would be a significant change for the community, right? We know that 343 has built Halo 5 for the PC. We know they shipped that free. So we know that they're now interested in supporting a PC Halo 5 community in some shape or form. We know that they've supported crossplay for other games, right? I don't think it's impossible that we could see crossplay custom games between a PC community and the Xbox Live community for Halo 6. That would be a fundamental change on a lot of levels, right?
Oof.
So
Yeah,
That'd be fucking crazy.
when we're
that'd be
talking about, so we're typically like, well, what would a Forge be on Halo 6? We know that they have map editing on PC now. This is something I said we could have seen in Halo 5. I said we could have seen like a full map editor on PC on Halo 5 you just import over. That turned out to be half true. We got PC map editor, we didn't get a full map trader importer system, right? That's something we
Are
could see in
there
Halo 6. Like there's a lot of things we don't know. They could let us make weapons to some degree, right? Basic editing of like weapon design and whatnot. So we're talking about how are we prepping for Halo 6? I think the best we could do is really take a look at how is clan structuring happen? Like, how does clan structure occur? But even then, I don't think it's useful necessarily to train personnel. Because as I said, if we assume that Halo 6 is fall 2019, it's unlikely that people stay in clans for 2 years. So just like trying to recruit people today and then preserve those people for 2 years and hoping they stay around that long, I think you'll have more success just maintaining a clan stable for the next, trying to focus on stability and then really focus on transition
Yeah.
once we know more about Halo 6 and we're 3, 4, 5, 6 months out. That's how I would view a problem like this. I'm not sitting in NavCom leadership actually hands on a problem like this. I'm sitting back, effectively retired, right? But if I had to take
Yeah.
a look at,
Yeah.
if I had to place myself back in some clan leader position, that's how I'd be looking at the problem.
Yeah, I'd say we're not focusing on like leadership and stuff like, or like people. More or less, we're focusing on like structures we know will change. So for instance, just making sure that like we have field manuals written, we know what training works and what doesn't, that kind of thing. It's just
I guess like so.
go ahead.
We're talking about field. I'm hesitant to say that we should. I'm hesitant to say it's productive to focus on anything that's even remotely in game. To talk about field manuals and trainings,
Mhm.
right? We aren't sure.
Yeah.
Like, it's possible that there's a fundamental shift. Like, it's possible that like Spartan companies exist in some more tangible way in Halo, and that inter-Spartan company battles can be a more tangible. Like, what if, for example, they came out tomorrow on Halo 5 and said that, well, you can now have Spartan Company versus Spartan Company in Warzone, right?
Hmm.
That would be a very interesting prospect for clans, right? That perhaps Warzone could be a viable alternative to raids, right? When you take a look at, okay, that's unlikely to happen in Halo 5, but
Yeah.
that's something that is not at all out of the realm of possibility for Halo 6, right? And that would be a very fundamental shift in the way clans could potentially engage each other. So we're taking a look at, well, what training could be effective for X, Y, Z. I'm hesitant to say that anything we train now, we aren't even sure if the same game mechanics will exist. We aren't sure if boosting will exist, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's difficult to plan that far out with so little knowledge about what the game actually is.
Yeah. It's definitely a light thing that we do. We don't
Yeah,
like completely
know.
fucking
I know.
crazy about it. But in regards to like, I found it really interesting, and I love having these conversations with people, especially like forgers, because I particularly enjoy forging. And so like when you talk about what advancements forging and stuff like that, it's a really good conversation to have like about that. Me personally, I think a map editor would be spectacular, but I think the big thing that they're gonna do is more scripting options. I mean, just I truly think that scripting is like the way that they want to push the Forge, and then also just making it so it's more customizable, like you said, with the weapons and stuff like that. I don't know if they'd go that far with like actual design, but maybe like you could, like tweak weapons, similar to like the new update that they just released.
I remember reading when the large Forge update came out a while back. I can't place dates at this point. It was the one where they added like invis vehicles and stuff. Is that Forge update? If somebody knows that, that's fine.
It is bound.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. I
Yeah,
remember somebody asked French, I think was his name, the dude who runs the Forge team at 343. They asked him like, "Will we see scalable objects in this update?" And he's like, "That's probably not something we can do in Halo 5. That's something we have on the table for the future, right?" So, scalable objects would be a huge change, right? Like these are fundamental shifts in the way you can make maps. There's a whole bunch of things that we know are very well within the realm of possibility for Forge in Halo 6, right? I think that they've now at this point had 2 years to work on it. They're probably gonna have another year to work on it, another 6 months to debug. We'll probably see a pretty powerful Forge in Halo 6. I'm pretty optimistic with what this is. I don't think this will be another Halo Reach to Halo 4 situation. That was atrocious. I think that we'll see an upgrade. I think that upgrade will be pretty substantial, and I think it's something we should look forward to. But until we have some more information on what that actually is, it's difficult to really see how those types of changes could impact. Because like it's possible we'll have Warzone as a custom game option. That's very like it's possible we'll have more than 16-player custom games. That's possible, right?
One can only dream.
There's a whole bunch of things that we hoped we'd see in Halo 5 we didn't get. But with every iteration of Halo, it's more likely we'll see these things. We know that Halo now supports at least 24-player games. It's possible we'll see 24-player customs, etc., etc.
Exactly. And while we're on the topic of Forge and customs, I've had this idea since I started doing game development a few weeks ago, and it's on a PC version of Forge. What if we could have a C# or C++ editor for scripting? One, people know what these languages are, especially in game development. So if we have that, the transformation from that into a script on the game would be so much more streamlined than having to go through individually and try and figure out which one corresponds to what statement.
Curious, do we know of any other games that have anything like that at this point?
I don't believe that there is.
I think
it's
Any
unlikely then. Just by the
I
nature
It's unlikely, but it's just an idea coming out of my head.
I personally think, not to hog this topic or anything, but I personally, it would be more likely for them to kind of do what they're doing, like statements or stuff like that. Something that's really like there's background scripting going on, but it's just a little bit more advanced. Maybe even possibly creating like their own system of doing things or just flushing it out. I think from scripting is just expanded scripting options as well as just generally more flushed out scripting.
yeah,
And then hope. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I think there's a whole bunch of things we could basically assume Halo 6 will have, right? And things that will be pretty impactful. Obviously, we'll see most likely a higher item count. That's pretty obvious, right? We'll probably see more scriptable items. That's pretty obvious. Probably see a higher scriptable script number count. That's pretty obvious, right?
Mhm.
But I think the question becomes like, okay, we'll have more powerful scripting. The community, as it stands right now, can't even decide how to apply scripting in raids. I think we talked about this in a previous meeting, and I'm of the opinion, I'm still of the opinion, that because it's so difficult for clans to agree what constitutes reasonable scripting, it's easier to just blanket ban these things, right? And I think it's a situation where we're hoping the game provides us a problem that we're hoping the game provides us some solution, that technology will provide the solution in and of itself, right? But the community's biggest issues are more in issues of how institutionally we deal with issues with ROE and issues with the raid's fairness and war fairness in general, right? And until those things are really resolved in some meaningful way, it's difficult to see how a more powerful forge would be useful at all.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully, it's a little bit more reliable. It's like scripting in like Halo 5, like a reason like why Navcom a lot of script we forbid a lot of scripting is just because it's not reliable. Like you know what I mean? Like people leaving and joining the game can mess up a scripted door, or like someone mashing the fucking button too much can mess up the scripted door and completely like kind of break the flow of the raid or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see it a little bit more reliable and, like I said, a little bit more flushed out and more just easier, I guess. Not easier because it is pretty easy, but just you know what I mean, just more of a part of Forge. So
next topic. This is an interesting one. I thought was useful. It's still not Trident. What do we define as like the acceptable scope of a war? This is something that I think Zeev Mark or somebody messaged me, and he asked me like, well, how do we view like Discord raids? Are those an acceptable way to conduct war? And this is something that once again I've had personal experience with. Like I know, oh okay, I know that like I've deleted some servers for other clans, right? This is something I spoke to. I think I know I deleted NRI's internal chat before, right? So how do we view
But what?
like deleting chats, and do we view that, or how do we view war in general, and what, if any, conduct is unacceptable between like a clan war situation?
What is a
Well, if
Discord?
I may,
I've never heard of that in my life.
A what?
Discord raids come in many forms,
Yeah, that's
but
Yeah,
a common one recently has been bot attacks, where someone makes a bot and they invite it to a server and it immediately starts kicking or banning people in quick succession.
yeah, there's a variety of
Personally,
things. It could be
I
like you
did-
kick everybody, you delete all the chats, or you just spam the chat.
Personally, I can say that I have done this. I have made the bots to do this,
Nobody
and
ever
it's not
lets
that hard. It's really not that hard to do because it's basic JavaScript that pretty much anyone can learn.
I think there's basic things we could rule out, right? I think like anything that has an effect on somebody's real life, or in some way like invades privacy in some substantial way, is out of bounds. So that's
Yeah,
like
any
that's
like
doxing.
any
That's
doc kind of thing.
doxing. That's like kicking people offline. I think that's reasonably
Yeah,
unacceptable,
denial.
right? Because like network manipulation in general, doxing is out of bounds, right? I think those are two things
For sure.
the vast majority of clans agree on.
Are we only talking about war conduct on Discord or like
No,
everything
just
else?
war conduct in general between clans.
I think it should stay in game. And I mean, that's just me. I think it should just be all in game, whether it's a meeting, like shooting up a meeting, or doing a raid or whatever. I think it should be purely in game.
So you
That's
don't
just
think? Yeah. So
I think
okay.
I think that people need to realize that you need to compromise when it comes to wars. Like you need to compromise on ROE. You got to compromise on raid times.
Hello, y'all still there?
Yeah.
yeah, we're here.
Yeah. Okay, he cut out. Yeah, I think that's something.
Oh, I did. Damn it.
Yeah, it's something that's curious because it's like a lot of clans view clan wars as seeking the total destruction of other clans, right? And if your objective is to fundamentally destroy the other clan, then you're going to target things that aren't necessarily in game, right? Like you're going to target Discord servers because
Yeah.
that's something that helps keeps clan united. If they can't communicate, members leave, etc., etc., right? But if you're a clan that does wars, for activity, Navcom historically has done this, right? I think,
Mhm.
yeah. So if you're doing
Total
raid
war.
wars just for activity, then it makes sense that it's just in game because you aren't actually seeking necessarily the destruction of the other clan. That's not the primary objective. So this is a lot of what clans view as acceptable conduct for clan wars really has to do with what is the objective for a clan war. And I think that's an interesting topic in and of itself. It's like how should we understand what the objective of a clan war should be at all times?
I think the objective, like Navcom, yeah, in the past we have done wars for activity. That's clear. But like the last war we did, I believe that we did for not activity, just because we generally hated them, was Divine Angels. And even though we hated them, and even though like we wanted them gone, I think the overarching opinion was, while we want them to know that we won, we don't want them to die out, because if they die out, then there goes another clan in an already small community. So that's, I think, the way I view it is do it for the win, do it for showing which clan is better, which clan is smarter, what have you. But yeah, don't do it to kill the other clan, because like personally I rather see that clan. I rather fight it another time outside of the war. Like I said, the community's small enough. We don't need to kill off every single community or whatever.
Don't need to kill off every new clan.
Kill off all the
Yeah.
clans, yeah. Yeah, I think it's a very interesting thing. I definitely agree with the idea that in general, it's not particularly useful for the community to kill off clans. Like general thumb, it's not super useful. To speak to experience here, when I was CFAO, I think Exodus pursued one actual war of true aggression, and that was with the Colonial Federation. And even then, right, talking to people from the Colonial Federation afterwards, they did, as I said in my video, like their intention was to go after Exodus in the long term, right? So that was more of a preventive war, but it was still a war of aggression. I understand what that was. But generally speaking, I tried to stay hands off with clans as long as I reasonably could. With Vast, we didn't pursue them hostily until they pursued us. With DA, with BAI, with Bellicose, etc. Right? So, general rule of thumb, I agree with the idea that it's not useful to go ahead and destroy clans. It's not helpful for anybody.
For the first, for with Genesis, Johnson's clan, and the first thing that we ran into was we planned out that NRI would probably be a bit hostile towards us because leadership was made up of people who historically are very anti-NRI and have fought wars against NRI. So we planned out that, we wouldn't be the aggressors until they started doing something towards us. So that's what we planned out. And then we let Bellicose merge into us, and immediately NRI and DA threatened war. But NRI did it in a manner that wasn't like it was a surprise, like, oh yeah, immediately we got to do this. It was like they wanted it to happen, and they've been planning it out for a while.
Yeah,
so,
but to be fair, I think their stance. This is something I talked over with other people as was happening. I think that NRI's response to that was NRI and DA, particularly DA's response to that was perfectly justified, right? When Bellicose merged into Genesis, they were still in a declared state of war against DA. So Genesis took a look at that, was aware of that, and then proceeded to offer some sort of protection and comfort to a clan that was at war with them, right? It's reasonable to assume at that point that Genesis had some sort of hostile intent. Which is why I think that you take a look at nuts and bolts, I think their response was reasonably justified. You can argue, well, it looked like it was planned, and that's most likely, right? But at face value, when I was looking at the events as they were occurring, I had trouble saying they were in the wrong. Okay. Corey, you there?
Yeah, on it.
All right. Yeah, so I need to go IRL. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep recording. Corey, you can take over chat and lead conversation. I hope you guys can be more mature than a bag of walnuts. So just continue the conversation. I'll leave recording, and then just somebody note what time the meeting formally ends. DM me that, and I'll cut the video there. Have a good evening, everybody.
okay. Please don't moan. Just please don't. It would be very appreciated. Corey? Is Corey alive?
Nah, he's dead.
Oh, shit.
Corey seems to be dead.
100%. Alright, next topic. Let's see. Let me go find these.
Kai, your name isn't Corey. Kidding.
Good about Corey now. Alright,
Oh, shit.
how do clans affect real life experiences and vice versa? No? Okay. Are clans like real world companies? Okay, that's actually kind of interesting. So,
Yeah.
what do you mean by that?
Yeah, the reason why I asked that is because the way I see clans is that they're kind of like real world business, as in they have a product, and that's being in the clan, and that's entertainment.
Like, in my opinion, they
So-
seem like militaristic dictators. That's how I see them. Just because it's very militarily focused.
I think that clan leaders should act as if they're like a business, and they market, like they're marketing their product that is being in the
Yeah,
clan.
it's 50% off just this weekend. That's a great deal.
Yeah. Corey, please come. We struggle without any sort of leadership. Shit. Fuck.
I am the new leader. I am the Capitan now.
Look at me. Look at me. I am the captain now.
Oh, hold on, I'll fix this issue, don't you worry. Alright. The problem is solved.
No, the problem
Oh,
is
but
that
you
Corey is dead.
But you got 2 messages. What the fuck? Hold on.
Anyone else wanna?
Oh, that's cool. I like that, Shave. That's very nice.
Who is actually here
I'm here.
besides you, Kai?
Corey's here. Sigma's here. Crow's here.
Corey? No, I mean,
Like,
no, that's not what I mean. I mean, like, are they talking?
No, just us. Everyone else is like muted or just not talking.
Okay.
I'm here.
Power's gonna be.
I don't usually talk.
Hey, Gren.
Legitimate topic.
What?
So we're gonna pick a topic.
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry about that.
Someone pick a topic.
Can we talk about
Corey's back. We're good.
how clans are like real world companies or something?
No.
Gren.
Corey, you're kind of the host now because Power had to go. So
Yeah, I
Yeah,
took over,
alright.
but like there's nothing to talk
Hey,
about.
Gren.
So I can make up some random shit.
if you're gonna say my name repeatedly, please actually like
We
talk
started,
because that's really annoying. Whoever is saying that.
we last
Corey,
started
aye.
discussing. Yes, what? I'm talking.
Shave.
You're talking over me.
PM me then.
No, what should we do about people? That's a question I put in the topic suggestion. But what should we do about people who want to lead clans? Should we do like a background check, like people we don't really know about?
Like, not anyone should just be able to make a clan because they do.
Yeah,
switch with,
Are you talking about like a?
1 second see, then it's like Star Wars, and you're like, what the fuck?
There's no way to enforce like people leading clans unless you want
I'm
to.
not saying that like you can't make them not not allow them to lead clans, but to where they like if there's something wrong with them, we know about it, and like a system we can check. Be like, hey, we know this person, we know what they've done. Like, say they've done something bad in the past, like note that down somewhere so that way people in the future know about it. So I've known a few clan leaders that like they do some stuff and it goes unchecked, and then it messes with other clans in the future.
I think that should just be up to the individual clan leaders to have enough knowledge and weed out those bad leaders. And,
all right, that's all I wanted to ask.
All right.
All right.
Just wants to know if there should be action taken. The chats on Discord.
That's an interesting one. Does anyone have any comments on that?
Well, like there are a lot of them, but I think like people know to stick to them.
Shave, I'm an E1. I would recommend that you send that message to someone that is actually in leadership.
I think it's like it's like the rules of a free market system, you know. The most community chats or the best community chats will get used. So it kind of weeds itself out regardless. You know, just don't join bad ones and only support the ones that are good, and then the problem's pretty much solved, or if you would even call it a problem.
All right, is that everyone on that topic? All right, go on to the next one then. All right. So what are people's opinions on the United Clans and/or the United Clans of Halo? They're two separate things.
I was part of that at one point. Like I was in that chat, and it feels like that whoever's running it is just doing it their own free will because a lot of people are getting removed. Me in particular, for absolutely no reason.
Halo, yeah?
Huh?
The Halo one. Okay, there's two of them. There's just the United Clans, then there's the United Clans of Halo.
Yeah. You're not talking about the United Clans of Halo?
No, I'm talking about both of them, but like, which one are you talking about?
No, United Clans of Halo.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
yeah, they're taking out everyone.
I feel like there's something wrong with that. Like there's some sort of corruption within it.
It's just that the leader is refusing to take actual suggestions.
Who's the current leader of that right now?
The Lady X Nova, I think.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah. If you take a look at the United Clans, though, that's pretty good. They already have like some legislation.
We actually have done something.
It's already established. It's fucking amazing.
Just for full disclosure, Kai, didn't you create the United Clans?
I made the United Clans because I joined the United Clans of Halo because I thought it was an actual thing. Turned out it wasn't, so I made my own.
I was just
no.
making sure it was said.
Yeah, I think the United Clans is a really good thing, but the United Clans of Halo, I think it's corrupt.
Yeah, I don't particularly like them for many reasons. Corey, are you in? Oh yeah, you are in. I think I got.
I don't. Yeah, I'm a little confused on that. I'm not really a fan of large coalition type.
Oh, it's not a coalition.
Like,
it's just like.
That's why I said coalition type, coalition-esque, however you want to go about it. They've historically never really worked out or did much significant change. You know.
I've got a question. What about clan? Like, what do you think about clan leaders that start one clan, they go for like a few weeks or not even like 2 months, disband the clan, make another clan, and just keep repeating the same process? What do you think about like clan leaders that do that?
Are they just renaming it, or are they actually ending it and then?
You mean like Eternal Valkyrian?
I mean, I'm not
sure.
Like
they're like starting a clan, they actually clan, take all the members from it, make another clan. In that clan, take all the members from it, make another clan, just kind of rinse and repeat multiple
So are they just renaming it?
I think that's kind of gay.
Basically, kind of renaming it, but
see, I've
still,
done
it's basically to just change power pretty much. But it's the same person that's in charge every time.
Okay, I've done that, so I can't really say anything against it.
Look, I don't really mind. It's technically the same as renaming, and they're just continuing to do it. Like, sure, it gets annoying for people that are moderating community servers if they're in said servers, but otherwise, I think it's relatively fine.
Yeah, I don't think it has any real big community-wide impacts. It's just some dude making a clan with the same people. Obviously, it's up to your discretion to interact with them or not on the basis of that, but there's no real negative to it.
Because what I've seen is the person, like, they'll step down, like, they'll let someone else take over, but then they just take all the people in that clan with them. So basically, they're trying to, like, hand it over, but then they just take the clan anyways, and then they make a new clan, and then that clan just shuts down because there's no one left in it. So it's kind of like if someone else tries to take that person's position, and then that person just kind of steals the clan away. That's what I've seen.
All right. Is that all the comments on that subject?
Yeah, I've got nothing else.
All right. Next
on to another topic. Automatic turrets and raids. What are people's opinion?
Say it again.
Automatic turrets on raid.
What do you mean by that? Like scripts?
Well, like yeah, scripts. Like it detects someone, shoots at them.
And honestly, like without seeing the context.
So long as it's not an insta-kill turret and it can be destroyed, I guess that it's fine.
Yeah,
it really just depends on the context of the situation.
Unless it can be destroyed, like you can shoot it in a fine. But if it's like always there and it will kill you, like no matter what you do, then it's banned by like our rules. But if you can blow it up and stuff and it's gone, then we like allow them.
And
it's just on a map by map basis, because let's say that somebody has the automatic turrets, but it's just to block off a certain part of it, like an out of bounds system. Like have you ever played Borderlands, kind of like that?
Yeah, and like
there's a map where it was like snow,
like the Guardians on Sandtrap and Sandbox.
Yeah, like Snowbound. I think that's what it's called. There's good ways to do it and there's bad ways to do it. And everybody has a different opinion. I think we stated this last meeting. Everyone has a different opinion on what's fair and what's not, you know? You're never really going to get a solid agreement.
From entering the base, I'm pretty sure that that's not fair.
Yeah. But if you can blow it up, though, I think that's fair. Like, you can actually fight back. Like, if there's like a barrel beneath it and you shoot it and that explodes and it kills the turret, then I think it's fine to have it there. Unless you can't shoot it.
All right. Any other comments on the turrets? Is there any other suggestion or topics that you would like to
I'll
bring?
look for some.
If if we're done with this, we can just wrap it up. It's been in about an hour.